Hey, hi. In this video, we're gonna see how to create an example generative AI application with using Amazon Bedrock hosted on Lightsail. Okay, so here, let's say we have developed an application with using Python Flask, and that application is wrapped into a container image with using Docker. Now we're gonna choose Amazon Lightsail to deploy that application, right? And then, as I said, so this application is been written to consume Amazon Bedrock um, stability AI model, which is actually a image generative AI model, which means that an AI generative AI which has the capability to generate text to image and image to image and image modulation generative AI. So here I'm building an example application with using Amazon Bedrock stability AI to generate the image from text to image only. All right, so for that sake, the application which is hosted on Amazon Lightsail will be interacting with the Amazon Bedrock stability AI and generates the image through the text input given to that particular model. And then here I'm using Amazon S3 bucket, which is very low cost lightweight storage, or low cost high volume storage. So here you use the image generated by the Amazon Bedrock stability AI is now stored in Amazon S3 bucket, and that image is consumed in the Amazon Lightsail, and that will be getting populated in the in your application. Okay, so this is a very simple application which is looks like a chat GPT. If you convert the chat GPT into text to image, so how does that look, right? So the same example, and a simple app is being built, and which is very fun to use. Okay, so this is what my actual diagram of the application here. What I do is I'm going to take you to the my application deployment. Yeah, so for now I'm not going to walk you through the code here. So what I do is I'm going to walk you through the code structure. How did I deploy? And then we're going to directly go and check the application usage here, right? So here I have given this application name as artistic lab. Yeah, artistic AI lab, which means that this is a generative AI application which is generating a art based on the text. Now you don't need to draw, but the generative AI is drawing on behalf of you. So here we have, you can forget these image folder. So we have a static folder, which actually is the folder used for storing the image. And then we have a template where I have only one file, that is index.html. And then as usual, since it's a Python Flask application, so this is the application, this app.py is nothing but the brain of the application where the logic is being written. And then we have a containers.json file, which is actually a JSON format, which is required to deploy an application on the Amazon Lightsail. Yeah, so that's the reason. So here we define that, so what is our container image. So all those references are being given here, right? So you see that image, the application is Flask, and the Flask application image is being written here, and port number is 5000, like that. So we have a Docker file. This is the same Docker file which I have explained you in the previous video, where I deployed an example application on the Flask, on the Lightsail. I have deployed an example Python Flask application on Amazon Lightsail. All right. So that's all about. Then we go to the help file. This is help file, and then likewise we have a public -endpoint.json file, which is needed for hosting an application on Amazon Lightsail. And then the requirement.txt file, which is actually needed for creating a Docker image. So Flask and Boto3 are being used. Okay, so as I said, I'm not going to walk you through the code, but very lightly, how did I deploy an application, right? So this is my source code setup. What I did is, after that I just ran AWS config, which actually sets the context of my AWS account, and these are all my credentials. So no worries, I'm going to delete these credentials after this demo is being done, so you don't need to try at all. Then these are all the regions which you have set, right? And after that, what I'm doing is I'm just creating instance of the Lightsail, that is container instance of Lightsail, by using the command AWS Lightsail create container service, and this is the service name. Power is equal to small and scale equal to 1. Okay, so once you click on this, what happens is I'm going to take you to my AWS account now. So if you go to your AWS account and click on Amazon Lightsail and go to the containers, so you will see that this Flask service is nothing but an container instance. So that gets created once you run this CLI command. So Note that to use the AWS CLI, you need to install certain prerequisites, right? Saying like a CLI, AWS CLI, you need to install the Lightsail related CLI. So those are all the prerequisites are there, which you can watch my another previous video and try to understand how to set up the prerequisite to use these commands. So here we have the AWS Lightsail. The utilities are been installed. That's the reason I'm able to communicate to the Lightsail service and creating a container service. Basically, create a container service with the service name like this: power equal to small and scale equal to 1. Okay, so this will create. So basically, once you run this command, you see that what I'm retrieving is I'm retrieving this JSON body, this JSON object. In that one, the instance, that is the container service instance, is in pending state. Similarly, to get the status of that container service, you can run a command called AWS Lightsail get service, get container services, which is actually a command to check the what happened to your container service that you are created just a while ago. So here you are creating a blank container service, right? And this is how you're gonna check the status of the container like this. Yeah. And then again I did a couple of times, and then I see that the status of the application. So if I can maximize this, the state of the container service is in ready state now. So if you go here and check the AWS Lightsail get container service, once the status turns into ready, you are good to go to the next step. The next step is to push the image. So basically, so as I said here in the diagram, so basically here the developer is actually creating a Docker image with using the Docker file. So you can use the Docker build command and create an image, and then these are the steps you need to follow. All right. So yeah, so if I go to the my Docker desktop and go to the images, you see that I have built this Flask container image, which means that the container image is exist in my laptop and it is running in a Docker daemon. Yeah, and then only the next command gets successful. Okay, so remember that before you run this command, you build your Docker image, in the sense you build your application Docker image. Yeah. All right, so for that case, since my prerequisite, that is Docker image has been built, what I do is I'm going to use AWS Lightsail push container image, and this is the service name, and label the container as the Flask container, and image is nothing but, so this is the tag of the image. Okay, so if we go to the image, so you see that the name of the image is Flask container. Yeah, and the tag is latest, so that image is being referenced here. Okay, you see that once that is being done, there is a message saying like the Flask container image is registered in the Lightsail. Now refer to this image, you need to change the Flask service container equal to 4. In the sense, this image is registered in a container cell, you need to use that image by referencing something like this. So if you go to the containers.json file, so there is an annotation called image. So that image ID has to be created like this, that is Flask a service hyphen Flask container dot 4. So this is what the value you need to keep. If you do not keep that number, it will not reference your latest image, right? And that is what this is tells. This particular information tells that in the containers.json file, your image key has to be referenced to a value called like this, right? So with that, so basically, you are actually pushing the container image to your Lightsail instance. After that, once the image has been pushed into Lightsail instance, you need to do the deployment. So to do the deployment, you have another command called something like this. So here I'm just going to select it. Just follow the the selection here. That is AWS Light create service deployment, and this is the service name. Container, this is the file name, and the public endpoint is this one. So basically, this is actually a command to create a deployment into the container cell application with using the images which we just now uploaded. Okay, and it will also, so here we are giving multiple parameters, right? One is service, this is a service name, and the containers, you need to point it to the containers.json. Public endpoint, so you need to point it to the public endpoint JSON files. So once that is been done, so you see that one I didn't refer, in the sense, in the containers.json file, I didn't change the the image value, right? So that's the reason it thrown an error saying like error occurred when calling the container service deployment operation, the Flask. So basically the non-exist image, in the sense, the it is earlier I didn't change the value to 4, so it throws the image error like this. So which indicates that we must change the containers.json file every time you create a new image. So when you build a CI/CD, I'm going to create a one more dedicated video to create how to create a CI/CD on the Lightsail as well. But for now, so again, when you build a CI/CD for your container sale, make sure that you add a logic to change this file dynamically, and then only you run the command like this. Okay, so that is the next command, which after changing this, I run a command AWS Lightsail create service, uh, create container service endpoint. This is the service name. Container, this is the container JSON file, and this is the public endpoint JSON file. Okay, so once you do that, it actually starts the deployment. In the sense, first you push the image, Docker container image, and that image is now used to deploy the application. Okay, and it should return something like this. Okay, so it should return a JSON object, something like this, which means that your deployment has gone good, or else it might have failed. So for that case, the state is in the deploying state, right? And once it is a deploying state, it will actually take nearby 4 to 5 minutes, right? So then here you see that AWS Lightsail get container service. This is the service which actually creates a deployment, right? So then it's actually creates creating the deployment basically. So here this is what the the reference is. So here AWS Lightsail get container service. This is the once you deploy it, you need to check the the deployment status, right? So first you deploy it, and then you are checking the status of the deployment by referencing something like this. That is AWS Lightsail get container service, and the service name. This is the service name that you are giving it here, and you see that the status is in deploying state. Okay, so if I run the same command now, it will show that it is in deployed state. So I'm going to rerun that command again. Here you go. So you see that the state of that Lightsail get container service, state of that particular container service should go in a running. So once it goes in a running, so which means that it has deployed, in the sense your container image has been deployed. In the sense, an example application, which is a generative AI application, right? So it's been deployed now on Amazon Lightsail. Okay, so if I go to my AWS account, so this is my AWS account, and Lightsail from Oregon region. So you see that currently it is an Oregon region. I'm just using only Amazon Lightsail application plus Amazon Bedrock and Amazon S3 bucket. Okay, and I created an example Python Flask application. Let's explore that. So I'm going to click on that particular. So here you go, right? So if I click on this public domain endpoint, so it will take me to an URL something like this. Okay, so I need to increase the zoom size to 100 to make look it better. So this is my application. If I refresh it here, or I'm gonna close all the others, and then I'm going to reopen you in front of you basically. So this is how my example generative AI application looks. Okay, so till now you were more learning like what is generative AI, blah blah things, right? So how to create a content, that is text content, how to generate the text contents by using the text as an input prompts, text as an input to the prompt. And then you also have seen like when you input a text, it is generating the image as well. When you give an image, it is also generating another image, or modulated image. Okay, so those are all you have seen as a direct directly on the the modules. But how to use it in an application and make it like an applied, in the sense how to consume it in real-time application. So this is an example application which looks like a chat GPT, right? So in the chat GPT, you used to give a command, and it will used to get the response in the form of text. In the sense, it used to generate the text. Now we will see how that mimic, how that can be mimicked in my application called Artistic AI Lab, right? So for example, say you want to see some image. So this is, remember, this is text to image conversion AI. So we need to give text as an input, and it will generate the image for that response. Yeah. So for example, say you want to see peacock. Yeah. So by enter that particular text into the into the text prompt, and click on a generate image, it will just load the image. So you see that currently it is loading. Why? Because yeah, here you go, right? So it has given the response. So how did that work? Okay, so basically we are here, in the sense we are accessing this we are accessing the application from Amazon Lightsail. So once you are actually interacting with the UI by providing the input to the prompt, it actually interacts with Amazon Bedrock Stability AI and gets the response, and that response is been stored in Amazon S3 bucket, and again referenced in a Amazon Lightsail. Yeah. So, and this is how it works. Now let's say you want to see, you want to see dog, yeah, dog, or say puppy. So I just say puppy, and let's see how does it respond. Okay, so basically whatever you have asked to the prompt, it will also capture that image in a history. Now we want to see the puppy basically. So let's see, yeah, here you go. So puppy is been downloaded, yeah. And whatever you have searched in the previously, it is also available in the same session. Okay, so if you refresh the session, it will go off. This is a very basic application, and this is an example application showing you how an example application can be built with using Bedrock modules, Bedrock, foundational modules. And here I have used stability AI modules, which is actually image generative AI module, yeah. And then so not only single word, let's use multiple word, text prompts. That is, say like a house, in front of a house, in front of mountain, in front of uh, 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 in front of uh, in front of mountain, say sun, river, right? So basically this is looks like a dreamy image. So I'm just gonna ask this in the prompt. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just asking an image, create an image with these inputs. Okay, let's see if this application can give you a response, yeah. So let's see. Okay, here you go, right? So you see that it has generated an image based on the input I have given, saying like mountain, a house, a river, yeah, right? So what I do is, I'm gonna keep this URL. I'm gonna share this URL in the LinkedIn. You try to consume this URL, try your application, try this application, give me the feedback. So not only this one. So in this YouTube video, I have I will be activating this the UI for a couple of months, or 1 month, or so, like that. If the weightage is high load, maybe I can switch up. So basically you can try this the URL as soon as possible. Okay, so if not available, basically in the later case, I will fine tune the code, and I will be sharing the code in the public repository, and public repository will be shared. All right. Also, with that note, what did I showed you in this demo is that, so Amazon Bedrock foundational module is not only just an module that you just try in the AWS console, or you just try with the API. Not like that. You can integrate in an example application like this and try to get a value out of it. Okay, so in front of you, I have shown you that an example application called Artistic AI Lab is being built, right? All right, so with that note, thank you very much for watching my videos. Kind request, please do subscribe my channel. That would really encourage me a lot. With that note, thank you, thanks a lot, and see you in the next video.